going to be the after party for Married at First Sight, season 16, episode 15, the after party. And the after party was Shaquille, it was Nicole, and it was Eris. And I guess the biggest thing that came out of the after party, we found out that Kirsten and Shaquille have been lying to us all this time, that they did the wild thing, they did the Humpty Hump, they did the pound pound, whatever they want to call it. They did that very early on in the marriage, very early on. Y'all really have to watch my video with Kirsten Shaq because I go into it much longer. But we find out they've been lying to this old time. And why did they lie? I'm pretty sure that the person who wanted to lie the most about it was Kirsten. Kirsten didn't want y'all to know. Kirsten didn't want anyone to know. Kirsten wants to run around and talk about how she's not attracted to Shaq. But behind closed doors, she was going over there doing the wild thing. I told y'all from the beginning it was never about attraction. It was to extract more out of Shaq. Watch my whole video on them. I go into it very deeply. But he basically said they did it quite a while ago, very early on in the marriage. And she liked it because she's continuing to do it. And she's fighting for the marriage. So it has nothing to do with, obviously he must have had the inches she needed. Remember she was talking about I want 7 to 8 inches. Obviously the inches were good enough because she's trying to hang on to the marriage. She's trying to work at it. And all is good. So what did Kirsten do to everyone? She tried to present an outside package, but behind closed doors, it's a completely different thing. I said this about Kirsten from the very beginning. Kirsten likes to paint a picture, but behind closed doors, it's a completely different scenario. The picture she was painting was Shaq needs to do more. Shaq needs to do more. But behind closed doors, completely different picture. Watch my video on them. I go into it a lot. But Shaq also told us that the besties on the show are pretty much Nicole and Kirsten. They talk a lot. I guess that's why Nicole feels so comfortable inserting herself into everyone's business. She was on here too, talking about she just can't help herself. Like I talk about in my video on Nicole and Chris, I understand why people start saying mean things to Nicole because that's the only way you get her up off of you. The way you get Nicole up off of you is to say something mean to her so she can go on over in the corner and cry. Because when you tell her, don't do that, I don't like it, it's not good enough for her. She just keeps coming and coming and coming. And then she comes up with an excuse why she can't stop, how she's got to keep doing it because she knows what you're thinking. She knows how you feel. She wants more from you. She wants you to do well. She wants your marriage to work. And even though you say, I understand you want all that, but I want you to stop, doesn't matter. She keeps going and going and going. So eventually what you do is you have to say something mean to her. You got to say something mean to her to get her up off of you so she'll go away. She creates the abuse in her own life because she doesn't know how to stop. She doesn't know how to stop. She says she's working through her body image issues. I know why people attacked her body image. Because when she probably pokes at people, tries to run over people, over inserting herself, they probably do something and call her a bad name or talk about her body or her looks or something. And that's become their defense against her. She doesn't get it. She doesn't understand that the reason why people attack her is because they feel attacked by her. When people tell you don't do something and you keep doing it, they feel attacked. So then they attack you. And probably what they do is they attack her body or they attack her looks. And so now she thinks she's the victim. Not all the time. Sometimes she may be the victim, but a lot of times she's the instigator. She just doesn't look at it as the same. She thinks that their blow is harder than her blow because what she does, she doesn't even think it's a bad thing. She thinks of, oh, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. No, it's a big deal to a lot of people. It hurts them just as much as talking about your body image hurts you. That's what she needs to get. She needs to get the idea that when you overinsert yourself and cross boundaries with people and they feel hurt by that, it's the same as when someone talks about your body. It could feel the same to that person. So maybe when she gets in touch with the pain she feels over body image issues, maybe she should say, you know what? Maybe this is how people feel when I overinsert myself. She sat up there and caused all that ruckus between Kirsten and Shaq, having people fight because of what stuff she's doing. She causing damage, but she don't care because she wants to say it. So here she is causing more damage in a relationship that's already fragile. But maybe somebody need to come over there and talk about her body or her looks, and maybe she'll get how damaging it is. She need to learn how to stop. She even talked about this scenario about how, she and Chris eventually said, I love you. And she said, well, every day I ask him, do you love me? Do you like me? And every day we basically give each other a rating system. Remember Pastor Cal told her don't do that every day? She didn't listen. She did exactly what the hell she wanted to do. Once again, she doesn't listen. She does whatever. And she admitted that on a lot of days or some days, Chris tells her, I don't really like you today. Chris told her, I don't really like you today. Today I like you. Today I don't like you. I like you a little bit. I don't like you a lot. Who wants to hear that every single day? Nicole does. Like he says, Pastor Cal said, don't ask that question every day. She said, I'm not listening to you, Pastor Cal. I'm going to do the hell what I want to do. And then guess what she gets to hear? She gets to hear from Chris telling her sometimes, I don't like you. But you know what? She kept going and kept going. And so finally he said, you know what? I love you. And she said she had been feeling it because one particular day she had asked him a question and she had told him that she loved him, but he didn't say anything back. But then they were having some more conversation. So she predicted it was coming. But the point of the matter is she kept bullying her way in and bullying her way in. But along that road, she also has to hear, I don't really like you today. I don't like you. So the good comes with the bad. If you don't want to stop Nicole, then you got to take the bad with it. That's why I can see how she has been abused in previous relationships, because that is a way a person would use to get Nicole off of them. It actually be a way when you become so frustrated, when you tell a person stop doing something and they keep doing it, after a while, you strike back. Now I get it. But Shaq also talked about the fact that when he didn't really understand why Kirsten didn't come to the whole football thing. He said he got her points because what he was talking about was that, I did have some plans for Kirsten, but I guess the plans weren't concrete enough or weren't extensive enough. He said it wasn't even just a work event. He said it was a whole celebration. It's that big HBCU Southern, I don't know, not the Southern Classic or Heritage Classic. I don't know. It's a big deal. It's a whole weekend things, football game, all this fun. And so he was like, I had a hotel room. I had flights. What was the big problem? But what Kirsten wanted Kirsten wanted a whole itinerary, what we're doing, where we're going. She wanted it all done for her. Watch my video on Kirsten and Shaq because they both are two peas in a pod. They both are never satisfied. So what Shaq was basically saying was, I did invite her. I did want her to come. I told her that. But the plans I had for Kirsten and for us to do while we were there, they weren't good enough for Kirsten. There were some plans, but they weren't good enough. And that's the thing that these two have in common. Nothing that they do for each other is good enough. Nothing that Shaq does for Kirsten is good enough. And nothing Kirsten does for Shaq is good enough. Because now that's what's going on this week. Nothing that Kirsten was doing was good enough for Shaq. Two peas in a pod. I'm calling them a Mr. and Mrs. Picky. Be sure to watch my video because that's what they are. Mr. and Mrs. Picky. Nothing that either of them do for each other is good enough. But he told we've been lying. We consummated this marriage a long time ago. And you could tell they had more than one occasion. This ain't no situation where they did it and it was trash and she didn't like it. Nope, they still doing it. They still doing it. They lied. They covered it up. They painted a picture that wasn't the picture so everybody could see something different. Watch my video on that. I can't even go into it a whole lot more here in the after party video. And then you got Eris over here. I did a long video on them too. Be sure to watch that video as where he's saying, he wants Jasmine to open up more. This after party is way after the marriage. And you could see a little bit of growth in Eris in the after party. After he's gone back and talked about some things, he probably ran straight to his therapist. And his therapist has had to set him straight. And what he's realized is that he didn't provide a safe space for Jasmine. And he realizes he didn't. He's realizing that now in the after party. But at the moment, he didn't realize that. And now he's able to talk a little bit more intelligently about what some of the real issues were. But you know what? He needs a little bit more in depth about how it all started. That it never really had anything to do with Jasmine's looks. Like I said, I go through it a lot in the video. It's a pretty long video, so be sure to watch it. But he talked about how, he likes a woman that's going to stand up to him and tell him something. And because Jasmine is non-controversial, he wish she would stand up to him more. So he wants to be able to just say mean things. I only clap for you because she told me to. Even when Jasmine did open up and tell her feelings that she was upset about the fact that he was dancing with the instructor. He said, I think she blew it out of proportion. Well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to open up and tell you my feelings and then you're going to put me down for my feelings? Which one do you want? Do you want me to keep my mouth shut so I don't get rejected by you? Or do you want me to open up? Because if you want me to open up and tell you how I feel, and I told you I didn't like what you did with the dancing instructor, you can't come back around to me and then tell me I overreacted and my feelings are invalid. Which one do you want? And then he said he acknowledged the fact of what Jasmine said when Jasmine said, you know, there's a whole lot of talk but no action. He says what he's going to do, but in the end, there's no change. He acknowledged the fact and said, you know what? There was a little bit of change, but she's right. It wasn't a lot of it. Bingo. Bingo. Not a whole lot of change. He says, you know, in hindsight, he should have politely declined dancing with that instructor. Even Shaq said, we all saw it when it happened. And he said, the minute we saw him dancing with that instructor, we knew it was going to be a bad idea. They all said he shouldn't do it, but he didn't know. He didn't know. Like I said, he's a robot with no feelings, no emotions, no empathy, no sympathy. So he doesn't think about these things in advance. You have to program it into him to tell him how to think and how he should feel. And then he can go from there. But in that moment, you didn't program that scenario on him. You didn't tell him that in that scenario, you shouldn't do it. You already got a wife that doesn't think you like her. You already tell the woman you're not attracted to her, but now you're dancing with another woman. Do you think that would be a good look, Eris? No, he don't think about it because you didn't pre-program it into him. But now in hindsight, looking at it, now that you programmed me, I can see how it was a bad idea. I should have politely declined the dance. Go figure. He got a lot to learn, or too much to learn, and he can be, and it's too damaging to Jasmine to learn it because she got her own self-esteem issues. She can't take the blows of She can't take the blows of Eris and wait for him to get better because the blows just keep taking her under. They just keep taking her under. Like I've always said, does Jasmine need to learn how to speak up? Yes. Does she need better self-esteem? Yes. Does she need to open up more? Yes. And Jasmine has shown little parts where she tries to open up, but when she does open up, typically what comes behind her open up is the rejection. Just like what she said she's afraid of. She's afraid of opening up because rejection comes. And every time she's opened up her mouth and told her true feelings, Eris came back with a rejection. So you can't keep saying it's a figment of her imagination. It isn't a figment of her imagination. It's the truth. She opened up and said, hey, I don't like the fact that you danced with this woman. I don't like the way it made me feel. Why would you do that? And later on, he came back and told her, you overreacted. He's not a safe space. Like I've been saying, he's not a safe space. The work that Jasmine needs to do, she cannot do it with him. The work that she needs to do, and she needs to do a lot of it, she cannot do it with him. But definitely check out my other video because I also go into how Eris even got here. I don't want to repeat it here in the after party video. I'm going to leave the link behind this video. Please watch it. So that's it, y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.